I'm just going to start by cracking my eggs. I've got 6 whole eggs. I'm just cracking them in a jug, and then I'll just beat them lightly and set them aside for when I'll need them. Now I'm going to cream the 500 grams of unsalted soft butter together with the sugar. I'll cream that on medium speed for 7 minutes until it's light and fluffy. You want it to have a really pale color. And I was stopping constantly to scrape the sides and the bottom. As you can see, now it's light and fluffy. I'll add the eggs. When you're adding the eggs, make sure your mixer is on low speed. So just the rest of the eggs. You can do this in 2 or 3 batches, and if your mixture starts to get cuddly, you can just add a little bit of flour. Then now I'm just going to add all the flour at once, and then just on really low speed, just mix to combine. Don't overmix. That's ready. That's about 30 seconds of mixing. Now the mixture is ready. I am just going to prepare my colors. I've got green, yellow, red, and blue. So this is where I'll use the milk. I've got 6 tablespoons, so 1.5 teaspoons into each tablespoon, into each bowl, because I've got 4 colors, and then I'll just add a bit of color. Just do it a little bit at a time until you get the right color that you're after. Repeat the process until all 4 colors are ready. And then once that's ready, you have to weigh your mixture, like all of it. And then whatever you've got the total, you divide by 4, because I'm using 4 colors. So I was just using a digital scale, and I've already weighed all of it, and I know how much I need for each bowl. So now I'm just going to be measuring into the separate bowls. You want it to be as close as possible to being equal. So slight variation is okay, but just try and make sure that it's all equal. So as you can see, I've got 465, so I'm gonna have 465 in all the bowls. Once that's done, I've divided into 4. I'll start adding the colors. So 1 color per bowl, and then you just mix it until all the color is mixed and you don't have any white left. So that's blue. Next is yellow. Just repeat the same process. Now the red. Red is a bit tricky. You might have to keep adding the color until you get the red that you want. It looks orange, but when it's cooked, it will be red. Lastly, I'll do the green. And then now I've got my 8-inch tins that I've prepared and lined with parchment paper. So I'm just gonna add the butter and then just level out. You can use the back of a spoon, or you can use a spatula like I did with this one. So you just repeat the process until all 4 are done. And they are going to bake at 170 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. If you've got an oven thermometer, that will help greatly to make sure the temperature is right. So I did them 2 at a time. And whilst that's baking, I'm going to prepare my buttercream that I'm going to use. So I've got 400 grams of butter. I'm just going to cream that on high speed for 5 minutes. You want it to volumize and to be nice and pale. Just scraping down the sides. You need to constantly do that as you go to make sure that everything is mixed. Now I'm going to add 700 grams of icing sugar that's been sifted, and I'll do that in 3 batches. After you add the sugar, make sure you start mixing at low speed, and then you increase the speed, and you want to mix for about 3 minutes before adding the next batch. And then you add, once all the sugar has been added in, you want to mix it on high for another 3 minutes. And I've got 6 tablespoons of thickened cream that I'm going to use to get the consistency that I want. You can use milk. Just make sure you add a little bit at a time, and then you mix, and then you check to see if you've got the consistency that you want. You don't want it to be too thick or too runny. And then now I've got my cakes. They've been trimmed. They're ready for icing. And I'm just going to start off by putting a little bit of icing on the board so my cake doesn't move around when I'm icing it. And I'll place the first layer and then just press it a little bit to make sure it's sitting, and you want it to be in the center. I'm doing the crumb coating, so it doesn't have to be perfect at this stage, but you want to spread your icing, and then you grab the next cake, you put it on, and you repeat the same process until you reach the top layer. So the same thing, just spread out. Bring the next cake, and when you're putting your cakes one on top of the other, just make sure they are well aligned. Like you can see there, I'm just making sure it's straight, so just make sure they are well aligned, and you repeat the process. And now the top one, and I'm gonna do the same thing, just put icing on the top, and then I'm also going to crumb coat the sides. So this is just putting a layer of icing which will have lots of crumbs. That's why it's called a crumb coat. It doesn't have to be perfect. So once you're done with your crumb coat, you put it in the fridge for 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes, and allow it to just firm up before you put the final coat. So now it's out of the fridge, I've put the final coat, and I'm just going to make it smooth. I'm using a metal smoother here, so just put it in warm water and wipe it before you do this. And then just use your turntable, just turn it around, and then just give it a quick move. And then I'm just going to come with a plastic one. I love the plastic one because you can manipulate it. And the cake is ready. I'm going to put hundreds and thousands. I've used the tray so it can catch the ones that are falling. So you just put them in your hand, and then in just one movement you go up, and you keep repeating, and you go around, and then you just sprinkle the top. And I am just going to finish it off by putting rosettes. This is fresh cream that I've just whipped. You can leave it plain if you don't want to do that. And then there you go. You've got your nice rainbow cake all done and decorated. And it looks lovely.